Welcome to episode 4 of Myths from Beyond, where we, every episode, will do a deep dive into an entity or creature in myths, legends, and folklore, or a haunted place from all around the world. In this episode, we are going to travel 48 kilometers, or 30 miles, from Baton Rouge to San Francisville, Louisiana. Here lies a beautiful manor with a wraparound veranda named Myrtles Plantation. Built in 1796 by General David Bradford, it was operating as a cotton and indigo plantation. When it was built, it was named Laurel Grove. David moved in 1799 with his wife Elizabeth and 5 children. He lived there until his death at 1808. In 1817, his daughter, Sarah Mathilda, married a man named Clark Woodruff, and they had 3 children and took over the plantation. In 1823, tragedy hit the Woodruff family when Sarah passed away, likely due to yellow fever. 1 year later, 2 of her children, James and Cornelia, passes away in the same illness. In 1831, Sarah's mother Elizabeth passes away, and this made Clark take his remaining child, Mary, and move away, selling the plantation to Ruffin Gray Sterling and his wife, Mary Catherine Coe. Ruffin and Mary remodels the home, doubling the size and renaming it to Myrtles Plantation, inspired by the crepe myrtles that grows around the manor. They had a daughter named Sarah, and in 1852 she married a man named William Winter. They had 6 children, but in 1861 they lost a daughter, Kate, when she was only 3 years old due to typhoid fever. The winter's tragedy did not end with the tragic death of Kate. In 1872, William was called out to the porch by an unknown man, got shot and died. His wife Sarah passed away in 1878. Her mother, Mary, passed away in 1880, and her son, Stephen, took over the plantation, but he sold it in 1886 to Orrin D. Brooks. Jumping ahead through the years to the 1940s, the Myrtles became part of local pilgrimage tour. That basically means a visit where people go to the plantation as a kind of destination of emotional, historical, and or paranormal significance, almost like a must-visit sacred spot, so to speak. In the 1960s, the Myrtles gains more attention for its historic significance, with a gift shop and tours around the manor. In the 1980s, James and Frances Kermeen buys the Myrtles and transforms it to a bed and breakfast, wanting to welcome guests to experience its historic past. In the 2000s, the Myrtles expands its operation to include a restaurant, overnight accommodations, and guided historical and mystery tours. And from 2020, it has 20 guest rooms, full-service restaurant, a coffee shop, lush gardens, historical tours, and seasonal events, making it a unique destination and experience. And now, let's talk about the hauntings. Even if some of the legends have been proven to be incorrect, it doesn't stop them to flourish and being told over and over again. The legend of Chloe. The legend of Chloe is the most known one. She was a slave woman owned by the Woodruffs. She had a prime position, working in the house, mostly with the children. But she had a bad habit of eavesdropping on conversations going on between Mr. Woodruff and his guests or his wife. One day she was caught, and as punishment she got her ear cut off. To hide the shame, she wore a green turban. Being afraid to be banned from the house and forced to work out on the fields, she came up with a plan. She was going to get the family ill and nourish them back to health, making her invaluable for the family. So she baked a cake with a very special ingredient, oleander leaves. Oleander is an extremely poisonous plant, and unfortunately she used too much of them in the cake. Not knowing that she made an extremely poisonous cake, she served it, resulting in the death of the mother and 2 of the children. The other slaves got scared, grabbed her, and hanged her. After, they threw her body into the river. Chloe's spirit has been seen and photographed often. There is a very famous photograph alleged to be Chloe. One owner, Tita Moss, took a photo in 1992 of the manor for insurance, and in the corner you can see a translucent figure in a turban that many say is Chloe. Some guests have seen Sarah, but mostly it is the children that is seen. Some visiting children has even said they have played with them. The legend of Kate and Cleo. Kate was the daughter of William and Sarah Winter. She was only 3 years old. Kate fell ill with what was believed to be typhoid fever. Back in those days, a fever could be a death sentence. Her parents watched as their daughter grew weaker by the day. The doctors had done all they could, but nothing seemed to help. Desperate parents will try anything. Some suggested a woman named Cleo. Now, Cleo was an enslaved woman known throughout the area for her knowledge in herbs, roots, and folk remedies. Some people called her a healer. Others whispered that she practiced voodoo. Depending on who was telling the story, she was either respected or feared. Late one evening, Cleo was brought to the Myrtles. According to the legend, she spent the entire night beside Kate's bed. Some versions say she prayed over the child. Others claimed strange chants drifted through the halls. One servant supposedly swore she saw candlelight flickering beneath the bedroom door long after midnight. But tragedy struck, and by morning little Kate was dead. Full of grief and anger, William blamed Cleo for Kate's death. Whether it was grief, suspicions, or a need to put a face to his suffering, no one knows. But Cleo was taken to the great oak tree that once stood on the edge of the property and was hanged. Kate has been seen throughout the manor, and some children have even played with her. The legend of William Winter's death. The year was 1872. William Winter was sitting inside the house when a rider called out asking for him. Winter stepped onto the porch, and a shotgun blast rang through the afternoon. Mortally wounded, he staggered back through the front door. Blood trailing behind him, he crossed the hallway and reached the staircase. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. He called for his wife while he was crawling all the way up to the 17th step. Sarah came running and held him in her arms, telling him to hold on. Collapsing in his wife's arms and dying, he told her he loved her and then drew his last breath. And to this day, guests claim they can hear his final footsteps If the house is quiet enough, they say you can hear some enter through the front door, walk across the hall, climb the staircase, just to stop at the 17th step. The legend about the mirror. In the Old South, there was a tradition. When someone died in the house, every mirror was covered. People believed that if a mirror was left uncovered, the souls of the dead could become trapped inside. According to legend, after Sarah Woodruff and her 2 children died, the family covered the mirrors throughout the house, except for one, the big one in the hallway. Because it was left uncovered, the spirits of Sarah and her children were trapped inside the glass. Visitors claim they have seen faces appear behind their own reflections. Others report seeing the outlines of children standing in the mirror when no one is there. The most famous claim involves the handprints. No matter how many times the mirror is cleaned, faint handprints are said to reappear on the glass. Even though the glass has been replaced, the handprints will still appear. It is like the handprints is in the mirror rather than on it. Visitors have photographed the mirror and some has captured figures in the mirror. In 2010, a visitor not only captured figures but also saw that the wallpaper in the mirror was different from the wallpaper on the wall. Other hauntings. One owner, Tita Moss, heard her husband calling for her despite him not being home at the time. She has also heard her friend's voice when she wasn't there. Some visitors have experienced the smell of a floral perfume, thought to be Sarah Winter. Visitors have felt tugging on their clothes or pulling on their hair as if it is done by a child. Visitors have seen fleeting shadows, unexplained footsteps, and reflections that vanish when looked twice. Furnitures have been said to move on their own. Some have even left marks on the floor. Some lesser-known hauntings. Phantom piano music. Guests and investigators have reported hearing faint piano melodies, particularly at night, described as faint and distant. The smell of cigar smoke. Sudden and intense cigar smoke odors appearing in hallways and guest rooms. Vanishing and relocated objects. Visitors have claimed that small items like keys, jewelry, and cameras were moved or disappeared before reappearing. Cold spots. Some overnight guests report cold spots in hallways and around the staircase, even though the environment is hot and humid. The Watcher. The intense feeling of being observed or watched, but when you look, no one is there. Many visitors mention that they feel like someone is standing right behind them, near the mirror or the staircase, only to find nobody there. Myrtles Plantation has been featured in many different media, but we're only going to mention a few. In 1992, Frances Kierman published a book named The Myrtles Plantation, The True Story of America's Most Haunted House, cementing its reputation as one of the most haunted houses in America. In 2002, it was featured in the TV show Unsolved Mysteries. In 2005, Ghost Hunters, also known as TAPS, investigated the Myrtles. In 2014, Ghost Adventures investigated the Myrtles. In 2024, it was featured in files of the unexplained. Whether the stories of Myrtle Plantation are rooted in fact, folklore, or something in between, one thing is certain. The past here does not feel buried, and the house seems to hold its breath, as if listening, remembering, and waiting. Perhaps that's why the Myrtles remain one of America's most allegedly haunted homes. It is not just the stories that lingers. It's the unsettling feeling that history here did not end. It simply stayed behind. And as the gates close and the porch light fades, one can't help but wonder, did you really leave the plantation? Or did something follow you out? If you like this and want to hear more myths, legends, and folklore from all around the world, then please like and subscribe. Until next time, take care.